Welcome back to the Good Monsters podcast. My name is Cody Lawrence, and boy, do I have a special episode for you today. Last week, I attended a freedom rally in Kansas City and got to meet some really cool and interesting people who are all fighting for our freedoms here in Kansas City and ultimately around the country. They are not only fighting for their own freedoms, but they are fighting for the freedoms of people who hate freedom, and they are fighting for the freedoms of the people who are trying to take their freedom away. This was the first one of these that I went to, and it was really interesting to meet the diverse kinds of people that are there. You might have expectations for the kinds of people that were there, but man, it was young, old, different races, fathers, mothers, lots of families with children. There were so many little kids there. Christians, non-Christians, all fighting for liberty. And any of those of you who were listening from the rally, I shared my podcast with the people there who I interviewed. If any of you are listening, thank you for fighting for those freedoms. I'm right there with you. So let me explain kind of a little bit of what the rally seemed to be to me, and then we'll get into the interviews. So it seemed to be kind of an all-purpose. Well, it was like a freedom rally. It was a big group of people that kind of gathered throughout the day at a prominent place in Kansas City, right across the street from Union Station. And they were very peacefully and joyfully standing there, holding up signs. Cars would drive by and honk their horns in support, like that was to let people know that they're with them. So if you ever hear in the interviews, you will hear a lot of car honks. No, we're not in Chicago. Nobody's, we don't have a ton of terrible drivers who just honk at each other all the time here. But they are showing their support. So it's a really cool thing to hear all those honks in the interview. But there were people protesting the mask mandates. There were people protesting the vaccine mandates. So really it was a lot of things. They were just for freedom, and they were against things that take away freedom. Some people had, Joe Biden signs. You can guess what they said. And for the most part, by and large, everyone there was really. I actually didn't meet anybody who wasn't nice. I just assume that at least most people there were, if not all people. They were all really nice that I met, that I spoke with. They were really they were really passionate. Obviously, or else they wouldn't have been there. They were passionate about freedom and liberty, and even though they were coming from many different worldviews, they were all united in this fact that they were fighting for the freedoms in this country that they love so much. There were even people not from America at that, who they immigrated to America, and they're fighting for freedoms. And actually, we see that a lot in the world. People who have fled from countries worse than America, they love America and they hate the direction that America is going often, and they are fighting for their freedom, like especially people who've escaped from communist countries like communist Russia years and years ago. They have horrible things to say about many of the directions that our government is going in America. It's really scary. So let's get into the interviews. Finally, before we do that, I wanted to give a little disclaimer for the YouTube or other high horse leftist thought police tyrant wannabes who might be listening in and checking this for the word vaccine. We will say it, and we are not afraid to say it. Vaccine. Not that you care whatsoever, but know that what I'm doing here, this is reporting. I interviewed these people. Then these people have opinions. I am not necessarily saying that these are my opinions, and I'm not necessarily saying that these opinions are true. They are just these people's opinions, and I am sharing them for the audience's consideration. And like one woman I interviewed said, you should do your own research. You should think about these things and you should do your own research because you are ultimately responsible for yourself. No one else is, even though they might pretend that they are, or even if they might try to force on you that they are responsible for you. You are responsible for yourself. You are responsible for your own choices as a human being, just because that's the way the world works, if people like it or not. And so you are allowed to have your own opinions if you agree or disagree with the people or with me. And you are 100% allowed to do your own research on these things. So let's get into the interviews. Again, if anybody's listening who was at the rally, thanks a lot for answering my questions and being there and being so cool. All right, let's roll. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so you don't have to share your name if you don't want to.
Okay, all right.
So why are you here?
Here for the rally, worldwide rally for freedom against all tyranny, against vaccine mandates, against mask mandates, against us not being allowed to live our lives the way that we think is best and healthiest, and there it is.
Yeah. Why is what's going on right now tyranny?
Ooh. I do believe that it definitely goes against our constitutional rights as individuals to choose what we think is best and healthiest for us. Like, for example, right now, this guy, I think it's this one right, says, me getting the COVID vaccine does not protect you. The COVID vaccine is for personal protection only. That is one of the biggest lies that has been misconstrued everywhere by everyone. They keep saying, if you don't get the vaccine, I'm not protected. I was told online, you're not being forced to fly on an airplane. I'm like, what? If you're already vaxxed, why are you afraid? Supposedly it's super safe and effective, and it is only for personal protection. So what does my getting vaxxed have anything to do with your health? So I see that as tyranny when you're forcing someone else to live up to your expectations. I think it makes weak people, not powerful people, because they don't think for themselves anymore. They think based on what they're told to think.
Does your faith play into this at all as a Christian?
I would say yes, but I would say from a holistic standpoint, I am somebody who believes in holistic health. I strongly believe in the body and its power to heal, its power to, if it's fed correctly, to take care of us from anything. I used to work with, I won't name the organization because I don't want to get them in trouble, but their organization works with thousands of children around the world, and I got the opportunity to partner with them for about 3.5 years working with a little girl, hold on a second, who was neurologically damaged, and almost all of the kids that they see worldwide are vaccine damaged. And they take these kids from severe problems, autistic all over the spectrum, everywhere. Some can't walk, talk, read, write, anything. And they take them to fully functioning people. And I watch that with my own eyes. They're now walking, they're now talking, they're now acting like normal people. You never realize they're completely damaged people, and that was all because of the body's ability to heal itself. And I take that viewpoint to my whole life. Like, why are we thinking that we need to step in to make our bodies healthier than they already are? Why not learn how to make my body the best that it can be with what I've already been given? I think my body was created perfectly. Our antibodies are incredible. They're the only thing that can constantly change and mutate to whatever sickness that we're facing. And vaccines can't do that. They do one thing. That's it. Hopefully. If they don't damage you in the process, if they don't mess up the way your immune system already naturally functions, a whole slew of things.
Do you have anything else to add that you want to tell people? Or encouragement, motivation, anything?
I would honestly, if I were somebody out there and being like, okay, I definitely don't necessarily want the vaccine, but I don't really know what else to do. I'm a little afraid. I'm a little scared. Start researching holistic health. And there's all sides of the spectrum, but to understand what our bodies are capable of, when you start reading stories and hearing stories firsthand of the body's amazing abilities, and that there's pretty much no diseases that are uncured. I know that sounds crazy, but yet I've seen that with my own eyes. I have talked to these people, who it's like people are saying cancer isn't cured. Cancer's been cured for a long time, but it's only from a holistic standpoint. We can't say the word cure. When holistic practitioners come up, they can't say the word cure ever. It's banned from their vocabulary. So I would say, honestly, if you're afraid, start researching how to take care of your body and how to move from there. I think there's so much that you can do that you don't have to be living in fear. There's a lot more to be said about, of course, about the vaccine and what is actually COVID, all those different things. But I think, honestly, if you're worried about health at all, that's where you should be going.
Sure, why not?
Okay, go for it.
All right. My whole thought and process on this whole ordeal.
Yeah.
First of all, you're born 50-50.
Yeah.
You're born to stay alive, and you're born to die right there. You wake up every day to see the sun. You may not even end your day to rest your head back down. You got 50-50 chance of living. So, you take the vaccine, you got 50-50. You don't take the vaccine, you take 50-50. But if you take a shot that blood clots your system, that you're a healthy person, that is not a shot nor a mask. Also, on that note, a mask will break down your immune system. So if you want to fight off any viruses, just breathe. Wash your hands. Bless the Lord. That's my opinion. But I even go crazier than that because I'm just a silly guy.
So you're just saying we don't want to take unnecessary risks.
No, why?
Yeah. There's no reason to.
You could go across the street and get hit by a car. Now you got 50-50 chance of living. Am I right?
So you've had to leave your jobs because of what you believe in. Tell us about that, without giving specifics for the job and whatever.
Well, I worked somewhere for 5 years, and I had worked there for 2 years previously. So a total of 7 years of my life. I had worked for this place, and I loved it. We had a family there, and they said they were going to start testing twice a week. And
For what?
testing for COVID.
Oh, okay.
Twice a week. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. They said, okay, well, that's what you have to do to work here. And I said, why? Like, I'm not sick. I have zero symptoms of anything, and we have to wear masks and face shields and gown up and all these things. So I don't understand. And this was before any vaccine had come out.
Was that an easy decision or a hard decision to make to leave your job for that?
Easy.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think
I'll find something else to do.
What do you think other people should do in that same situation where they're kind of like, I don't really like what's going on in my job, but I could just get vaccinated if they really want to make me?
I think, stick it out as long as you can. Stick it out until they're going to arrest you. Stick it out until you have a termination letter. Don't let them say, oh, you can't come in here. Like, get a termination letter. Do everything you can. You never know. All these lawsuits are going on. You could quit and go find something else, and then the next day hear that their policy changed. Stick it out. Fight for what it is. Don't give in, because that's why we're in this place. That's why we're where we are right now in America, because people give in and they back down and they allow themselves to be walked on.
Does your faith play into this at all?
No. I
Just purely pragmatic. It just makes sense.
a little bit, I guess. I think whatever created me, however I came to be, I think is of some kind of divine matter that I can only dream of comprehending. As a human, you think like, oh yeah, I comprehend that, but do you really? I don't know. So I was created with an immune system. When it is your time, it is your time. I don't care if you get a shot or not. I don't care if you get COVID or not. I don't care if you get hit by a car. If it's your time, it is your time. So it kind of does, I think. And any vaccine with the aborted cells and everything, that's someone else's choice. I don't think it's right, but I'm not them. So that's for them to deal with in their soul, in their heart, with their whatever they believe. But I think it's wrong, so I'm not going to inject that into my body or support things that are tested on it or grown on it.
So tell me why you're here and what all this is about.
Well, I'm here because there's two stickers that my mom put on our mailbox that call out to me almost every day. One of them says, "The freedoms that you surrender today are those that your grandchildren will never know." And the second is, and just like that, little Susie cured the worst virus of all time, and she's smashing a TV with a hammer. And I sit back and I realize that the problem is not a virus that is biological. It's a mental virus that spreads through propaganda, and it has for years through television, media, all of it. And we're coming to a point in society where we're educated enough to actually see that and be able to stand up against it, use what our founding fathers gave us. I'm tired of talking about it and not doing anything. We've for years said, "Oh, this happened, this sucks. Oh, this happened, this sucks. Oh, this happened, this sucks." And we did almost nothing. We tried, but we didn't have enough people on board. I think we're at a point now where there's enough people that you can't really stop it. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's
Enough people to fight against the tyranny?
Yeah, the right way. Not like not storming the castle. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is God is like, if you look in the Bible, every time that his people were oppressed, were things being laid on them, heavy burdens, he said, "Let my people go. I can't do this." And he led them out. I can see that happening again. I really can.
I hope
I got
so.
one more thing to say.
Sure.
The government forgets they work for us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the government wouldn't have any power at all if we didn't give it to them. Yeah.
And every inch that you give them, they take a mile, and they will never give it back unless we take it back. That's
cool.
why I'm here.
How old are you?
20.
20, wow. So what makes you care about this stuff?
When I see family businesses close down that entire family spent generations working towards to set up for their kids, and now they're unemployed and they're dependent on the government for handouts because they have no other option, but yet the government keeps on poisoning them more. Whenever I see where we're being lied to blatantly, when we can, it's an insult to intelligence. It's an insult to human intelligence to tell us such blatant lies whenever we can see for ourselves with our own two eyes. The government is not our eyes, they are not our ears, and they are not our mouth. And they need to stop acting like they are. That's I see where there's a war on our mind to make us complacent, to make us just allow things to get worse and worse. Compliant, yes. I'm tired of seeing compliant people because they complain about what's taken from them, but they do nothing to get it back. And I started to click. I started to realize, well, what am I doing? I'm complaining about it. I want to go find people that are like-minded. I care about this because I'm not raising a kid in this current society right now, but I am raising a kid. And I will, one day, but not in the state that this country or the world is in. Bottom line.